Well. Knicks postgame presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton up by 20 in the second quarter, led by 13 at the half, but back came the Knicks. Tremendous help from the bench and a 20-point fourth quarter from Karl Anthony Towns. Jalen Brunson dogged by foul trouble with a key bucket here down the stretch to put the Knicks up by 2. And the Knicks very much alive now as they win Game 3, 106-100. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Alan Hahn and Wally Szczerbiak. Let's get right out to Indianapolis. Mikal Bridges joining us. Mikal, thanks so much for joining us. What a win for you guys. How were you able to hang in there when you were down 20 and then prevail in the second half?
We just kept fighting, man. That's the thing. We just kept fighting, Just didn't go down when they went up. We just stayed fighting, and it's all the way to the end.
Mikal, just tell everyone how you guys expected to win this game. Everyone, a lot of people, it's not everyone, a lot of people were counting you out, but that locker room just believed, even down 20. How did you guys do it?
Like I said, just staying together. Obviously, we don't care what other people say about us. They're not here every day with us. So, everybody has their voice and opinion, so that's okay. But we just don't come out here and fight. We just try to play hard and try to play our best basketball.
This was an all-hands-on-deck kind of feel for a game like this, what you were facing. And how about what you got from DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, the guys off the bench, and what they were able to contribute?
Yeah, man, we got talent, 1 through 15, man. We always did, and we're proud of our guys. We just kept fighting and just take whatever it takes to win.
Mikal, congrats on your play and the team's win. You guys are now very much alive in the series. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so you just touched on it. We began the night talking about Mitchell Robinson starting and Josh Hart coming off the bench. I don't think we would be talking about Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright. Deuce McBride obviously has contributed, but DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet with Jalen Brunson in foul trouble, those guys really helped the Knicks slowly but surely get back into the game.
It was the key to the game that I had. It's basically that all options were on the table. Whatever it was going to take to get the win, to find a 5 that were working well together, that had a little magic. And sure, it had a couple of names that maybe you weren't expecting, but that's what you get with a veteran team, Wally. What you get is guys who are staying ready for the opportunity to come in and get something done. And while they didn't jump off the box score, what Wright and Shamet did defensively helped turn this game around and maybe even help turn the series around.
And it's also coaching and the coaching staff having those guys ready and believing that when their number was called, when I put you in the game, I trust that you're going to do your job. And that's exactly what those guys did. Another thing Coach Thibodeau did, he went with big Karl Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter to close this game. He turned into an absolute superhuman in that fourth quarter, just dominated the whole entire start of the fourth quarter, had a mishmash lineup out there, and he took over in the direst moment of the Knicks season. He kept Jalen Brunson on the bench until 2.5 minutes left in the game. And then Jalen Brunson came in, and he did his job and closed it out. Josh Hart didn't get the start, but he got every loose ball that the Knicks needed.
And the biggest rebound of the game.
Yep. Yeah. 3 biggest rebounds of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just an unbelievable effort by that locker room. That team showed a lot of fight because the Pacers had this one, and they let off the gas a little bit, and the Knicks jumped right on it, and now we got a series.
Karl Anthony Towns finished with 24 points and 15 rebounds, answering the call, answering the bell after he was left on the bench for a lot of game 2, fourth quarter. It is what, like you said, it's why you brought him here.
Yeah,
it's why he's here. And when you have guys off the bench that get you back into the game with defense and you come in the game, who's going to score? Somebody's got to take this thing home. Wally, it was all Karl Anthony Towns, and it was exactly at the right time.
Yeah, and he's starting to get into a rhythm, get the ball, different matchups, just taking over. I mean, Miles Turner can't guard him. Bradley can't guard him. Siakam can't guard him. Oh, by the way, he can pass, too. Ran the offense completely through a 5-man. Just give Karl Anthony Towns the ball for 8 straight minutes in the fourth quarter and let him go to work. This guy's was a top 5 MVP candidate. He didn't forget how to play basketball just because the team is down 0-2. What a performance, what a skill level he has, and what a display when it was looking really gloom for this Knicks squad.
Guys, that's happening with Jalen Brunson on the bench with 5
exactly.
fouls. 7:03 to go. Knicks up
he
one.
had 4 fouls.
Right. Brunson comes out with 5 fouls. Knicks up 1. 7:03 to go, and that's when Karl Anthony Towns. We just showed the highlights, as you say, Wally. Took it over.
He had 20 and 8 right in game 2. He had 20 and 8 in the fourth quarter of game 3.
Yep.
All in the fourth quarter. 6 and 9 shooting, hit 3 threes, 3 of 4 from downtown, shot with confidence, got to the free throw line as well. He was a dominant player. And it's what we saw from him against this Pacer team for most of the regular season in the 3 matchups. He's had big games against them. And so we were waiting for it to finally happen. And what a moment for it to happen.
You know, and it's, I think, worth pointing out. You mentioned Josh Hart didn't start. We heard him in the pregame. At the time we heard him talking, he didn't know he wasn't going to start, but he said, hey, whatever they're going to do, whatever the coach is going to do, I'm in. You talked about his great effort. And let's not forget, Karl Anthony Towns was benched the fourth quarter pretty much in game 2. Didn't slow him down tonight. Game on the line. So really tremendous team effort.
Yeah.
And you talked about in the pregame, all hands on deck. And the hands that we haven't seen been on the deck that much helped key the win. And Mikal Bridges, we talked to him, he was pretty solid as well.
Yeah, and I think you confused Carlisle and the Pacers a little bit with some of the lineups that you threw out there, and that's what the Knicks needed to do. They needed to get better defensively because this Pacer team was doing whatever they wanted. Mikal Bridges, he's just so good on both ends of the floor. Does all the little things, the glue things, to help your team win. 6 for 18, not a great shooting night, but his defense is always going to be a 10 out of 10 pretty much for the most part. He's always going to be in the right spot, doing some of those little things, getting his hands on those loose balls. Like, that was just a gutsy win. Honestly, a gutsy win.
Yeah.
A building that the Knicks have never won in the playoffs. 0-9. To pull off that win when it looked like they were done. It looked like they were down 20. That building was rocking. They haven't been able to stop the Pacers for 2.5 games. And then in that second half, they figured something out. They did not quit, and they found a way to get a massive win. Now, you got 1. You need 2, though. They cannot be content with this win. They have to keep their foot on the gas. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of matchup advantages. They cannot relax. Now you got the Pacers a little weary. Keep the pressure on them and go after game 4.
How much did you find in this game that now you can use for the rest of this series? Like, what was like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes games are one-offs, and sometimes games are, wait, we just figured something out that matches up well against this team.
No campaign. They didn't play campaign.
The
Nesmith injury was huge.
Missed him for a block of that second half.
He was out for a while, and even when he came back, he didn't trust shooting with that injured ankle. He had an open 3 in the left corner. I remember it. He made it the times he had it at the Garden in the first 2 games. This time, he was not himself. When you roll an ankle like that, you'll gut it out to get back out there for your team, and you'll be in the right spot maybe defensively. But when it comes to making a move on offense, getting your balance, and knocking down a huge shot like he did in game 1 and game 2, it's a totally different story. So we'll see how he recovers. But that injury definitely shell-shocked Indiana a little bit because other than Halliburton, Nesmith is a very important guy on their roster with the way he defends Jalen Brunson. He is an outstanding long defender on Brunson, and if he is not healthy and right, then Jalen's going to have a big opportunity to do a lot of damage.
The plus-minus leader tonight for the Knicks, Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet, plus 12.
In under 12 minutes.
All right.
That's excellent.
Monica McNutt, her perspective, she's in Indianapolis. She's going to join us. And also, Tom Thibodeau, he said all options were on the table. We saw all the options, and it paid off for the Knicks coach and his team.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Welcome back. Viewing party across the street inside MSG as the crowd watching the final seconds. Knicks win 106-100, outscoring the Pacers in the fourth quarter 36-20. How about the Knicks defense, guys? We didn't see any of the pace for the Pacers, particularly in that fourth quarter. We didn't see all the movement that we've seen up to that point in the series. Wally, had the Knicks slow them down?
Well, we didn't see Pascal Siakam shooting over guys that are a foot shorter than him either. The Knicks tightened up their defense. They did a great job. I think they did a great job in those pick and rolls of Bridges picked up Halliburton further out. pick him up a little bit, 94 feet.
Yep.
Make him turn twice in the backcourt. I know it uses a lot of energy for Bridges, but that's what they do to Brunson. Don't let him run the ball up the floor and get it over the half-court line with 21 seconds on the clock so they can go side to side and they can just not even have a shot clock to fight. Make them work to get into their offense. I think that's what the Knicks did. As a result, they pressed a little bit. They missed some makeable shots. But the Knicks closeouts, the Knicks efforts with Mitchell Robinson out there kind of just, playing center field, they're a different defensive team.
Biggest number here that I'm looking at is 5 for 25 from 3 for the Pacers. The three-point shot is they don't take a ton, but it's still a big part of their offense. And when you take it away,
41% for the playoffs.
And the three-point ball was all about game one. I mean, that was a big, huge part. But 5 for 25 means your
20%.
Three-point defense was where it needed to be. As you said, picking up point of attack is always important. Point of attack, keeping them from going downhill, and then those drive and spray outs, which you see a lot of to open shooters, you limit that when you slow them down. So again, this is a credit to the defense and the 5-man unit that Tom Thibodeau found somehow, some way that got it clicking in that second half.
Jalen Brunson off night, foul trouble, only 6 out of 18, 23 points for him.
10 for the line.
Right. Monica McNutt now joins us from Indianapolis, helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, how about that for a gutsy win on the road? Now, Knicks, by the way, 6-1 on the road in these playoffs.
That is also the first clutch time loss for the Pacers. Guys, I'm exhausted. That was a lot. I ran into some fans coming down from my radio position, and I'm like, can you just give me a hug? Like, because I just, gotta let this out. As much as Karl-Anthony Towns will be the highlight, or the headline, I should say, from the fourth quarter, and absolutely correct. I think you look at this box score and you see DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, plus 10 minutes, Deuce McBride. I thought the effort that you got out of a unit that we don't see often on the defensive side of the basketball is what set you up to be able to pull off this win, and that should not go unmentioned.
Yeah, Monica, and also, how about the job, the coaching staff, keeping those guys ready, Tom Thibodeau just sticking to what he does and not playing Brunson at the end of the game because defensively it was working. Like, how about the job that Tom Thibodeau did tonight?
Yeah, Tyler and I got off the air to join the post-game show with Dan Grassa, and we both called that out. Like, it was a fourth quarter where everybody was locked in, I thought. And perhaps you would say outside of Jalen Brunson, but having to navigate the foul trouble being what it was, and even when he did come back into the ballgame to knock down key free throws and get very important baskets late in that ballgame with less than 2 minutes to go, I thought it was well coached. You had the timeouts. The only thing, and this wasn't in the fourth, but the challenge to me was still, again, a little bit emotional when number 11 picked up his fifth foul. But other than that, I thought everybody had their minds locked in on the game plan and went out and were able to execute at a very high level. And then, guys, to me, as much as we talked about starting lineups, and don't get me wrong, I think the switch to Mitchell Robinson was effective. But for Josh Hart, again, to be in the closing lineup, for rebound 9 and rebound 10 to be secured for him when this game was hanging in the balance, and then go to the free throw line and hit big-time free throws, still, whether he starts or comes off the bench, still a dude that correlates to the heart of this team.
All right, Monica, you took away what I was going to talk to you about, which is Josh Hart. First and foremost, watch that challenge back. That should have been a foul. But I was going to mention to you that Josh Hart, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. So he sacrificed. He's the one who talked about sacrifice. He's the one that came off the bench. But he did play the entire fourth quarter. He got some of the biggest rebounds of the game. It's emblematic, really, of how much he means to this team.
Without question, Hahn. I mean, I told you guys, I think in the pregame, he was asked about the switch, and he's like, look, whatever we need. And I think he brings that mindset into the game. The other thing that I will add, as heartbreaking as games 1 and 2 were, I think as a collective, we've talked about the players, but I think as a collective, and you saw it here tonight, including the coaching staff, the Knicks relished the opportunity to learn from previous missteps. I don't know about y'all, but down 20, I was kind of like, okay, I don't believe they're going to go out like this, but will they have enough to take a lead when they close this gap? And it was an effort and a formula that we have not seen. And so to Wally's point when we started the conversation, whether you talk about Tibbs or whether you talk about Josh or Karl-Anthony Towns, up and down the roster tonight, I thought you saw great examples of a team all completely pulling in the same direction to achieve a goal, and that's what team sports are all about.
All right, Monica, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you on Tuesday night.
Listen, Pidto, I don't want to hear nothing about Ben Mathurin. I was a little bit of a whiff on that one, but it's okay. The Knicks won, so I'm going to get you in my next X Factor.
Your X Factor got an X tonight, but that's okay. Monica, Tuesday's another night, my friend, okay?
I got half of it right because I did say Josh. It's
Let's
true,
see
and I
this.
got half of it right because I did say Josh. So there you go.
Ben Matherin, 2 points. That's okay, Monica. We love you anyway.
Whoops.
Knicks down 20, and then they close it to 13 at the half. Maybe one of the key sequences in the game with the late stages of that second quarter. Regardless, Knicks get a win. Here's Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments, as always, presented by Chase.
And Tom, I think you've talked before about it's not who starts, but how you finish. And I guess Josh, whole fourth quarter and the contribution he made down the stretch there.
Yeah, hard-fought game. I thought we got off to a good start. Then we got into foul trouble. And then we finished the half pretty good. And then we were at our best in the fourth. And a lot of guys stepped up. I thought Cat's presence, Josh all-around play, doing what Josh does, everything. I thought Deuce gave us good minutes when Jalen was in foul trouble. OG was terrific throughout. Mitch gave us good minutes. And then Landry and DeLon did a really good job as well.
Tom, obviously Towns 20 in the fourth. Just was there a concerted effort to seek him and hunt him, especially with the lineups that you had on the floor?
I think that's sort of the mantra of the team. They're unselfish guys. When someone gets going, right, you try to continue to keep them going, and that's recognizing what's working. And so it was everyone working together to find open shots for them, which I think is important.
Tom, you often talk about like next man up mentality. Right over here, DeLon and Landry, two veterans who hadn't played much, were out there on the floor when you guys really started to stabilize that. I guess the importance of having veterans on a team like this.
Yeah, the high character guys, and both guys have done a good job. And we picked up DeLon late, but Landry's been terrific all year. And he had the unfortunate injury in training camp or preseason. But he's played really well, and he's great for the team. He's always ready, and the same could be said for DeLon. So they're really, really good pros. And when I say that, I mean they do the right thing every day, and that goes a long way. It's not just lip service; it's actually doing the actual work, which I think is important.
Tom, your guys, over the course of time since you've been with the Knicks, they play tough, they play through injuries, but Carl was grabbing his knee pretty good, and then Josh fell awkwardly on his knee. Do you have any concern with either of those guys for Game 4?
No, I don't know if you're aware, but our medical team is voted the best in the league. So they are tough-minded. I think it's at this time of the year, the mental toughness is probably more important than the physical toughness, and both of those guys are mentally tough, which I think is huge.
DeLon and Landry, obviously, you just said had such a big impact. What about the game did you see that had you give them all that playing time and more playing time than they usually get?
Well, foul trouble probably helped. Yeah, but like we were going to play him, put him in the rotation just to get a different look, and it ended up unfolding because Deuce picked up 3 fouls in a minute and 22. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. So there was some unusual calls, to say the least.
Tom, that's what I was going to ask you about Deuce, those 3 quick fouls, but then he had that one spurt where I think he scored 7 or 8 points in a row for you guys.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, particularly when, like you go to the bench after a minute and then you got to still stay in the game mentally. And so, but I thought his intensity was huge for us. He's a catalyst. It's his defense, his hustle, and I think it gives people energy when you see him flying around like that.
Tom, it's now 3 wins when you've been down by 20 in the playoffs. Can you kind of put into words what that's like as someone who's been around this game for a long time?
Yeah, and I think it's, sort of in playoff basketball, I know you guys like roll your eyes when I say no lead is safe, but no lead is safe because I think with the 3-point shot, people make up ground quickly, pace of the game, make up ground quickly. So you see comebacks all the time, and if you let up just a little bit, that's what happens. And so you got to win games different ways. Obviously, you prefer to play from a lead, but if whatever it is that you have to do, that's what you have to do to get the win in the end. And going into the game, we talked about you don't play the series, you play the game. Just focus in on what it takes to win tonight's game. That's all we're thinking about.
Hey, Tom, the lineup change. What can you kind of take us through? What went into that decision?
We could.
You could,
but we won't.
You did though. You did actually. You actually did it. So what went behind actually doing it?
Yeah, just and again the same thing. And I said this to you guys earlier. It really didn't impact either guy from a minute standpoint. So to me, when Mitch was coming off the bench, he's a starter coming off the bench. When Josh comes off the bench, he's a starter coming off the bench. Their minutes are going to be the same, and both guys mix and match. They both guys are comfortable with both units. And the thing that I love about Josh is the unselfishness. He's one you're concerned because you're not only impacting him, but you're impacting other guys in the starting lineup. So you got to make sure that that's all good, and then you're also impacting the second unit in a different way. So then you got to figure out, okay, how could we put this all together where we can make it work? And so that also factored into those other guys working in so we could get all the things that each guy provided for both units.
Tom, can you talk a little bit more? I know you said people realized he was hot and they were doing the ball to cat, but I mean, he was dunking, he was shooting threes. I mean, he was doing it when Jalen, your other top scorers, in major foul trouble. What's that like to watch for you guys?
That's great. I think everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and so we always talk about playing smart. And when you're playing smart, you're playing to your strengths and you're covering up your weaknesses. So you can't get here without being a great player. So whatever it is that you do great, that's what we want you to lock into. And not only understanding what you do well, but also understand what your teammates do well. So lead them into the things that they do well and cover up what their weaknesses are. When you do that, you're playing smart and you're enhancing your chances of winning. And Cat, as we know, is a very gifted scorer. He can score 3 different levels. He's comfortable at the three-point line. He's comfortable putting it on the floor. He's comfortable playing back to the basket. So as long as he stays aggressive, it's a huge plus for us. And then the double team comes, and then he can make off that.
Tom, we don't see Jalen on the bench often when you guys are playing well in the fourth quarter. Obviously, he has the foul trouble. He comes off, I think, 7 minutes to go. He comes back 1:45 or so. How are you determining, all right, it's time to go back to Jalen at this point?
Probably more time and score, and just, trying to get it to the point where you felt like, okay, what do we need in the game right now? And the group was sort of in a good rhythm. So we probably went a little bit longer than normal, but I didn't like it. It was hard, like even Mikhail's last foul. It was hard to judge how they were calling the game. So that was a big concern, and I knew we had to have him down the stretch. So,
Tom, less specifically about who got added to the rotation tonight, but normally as the series goes along, especially if it's a 2-0 deficit or something, a coach will shorten the rotation. You decided to lengthen yours. How did you come to that decision to kind of expand it to 9?
Whatever gives your team the best chance to win. I don't really. You guys always, I know you try to put everything into a box. I don't work that way. So, like people think, I want a low-scoring game. No, I just want one more point than they have. I don't care if it's low-scoring, high-scoring, medium-scoring. I just want to win. That's the bottom line. Whatever gives us the best chance to win, that's what we're going to do. And so that's what I felt was going to give us the best chance to win tonight's game. So that's why we did it.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Tibbs played 9 players tonight. Rick Carlisle has always talked about 13 days for the duration of this series. If it goes 7 games, maybe we'll get there. Indiana's coach coming up. Down by 20 in the second quarter. Knicks fight their way back. They're back in the series. They win it by 6. Indiana coach Rick Carlisle on what went wrong. After we tell you about Game 4. So excited. I wanted to get to the Indiana coach. Tuesday, hour-long pregame at 7 o'clock. And we know there's going to be a Game 5 back here in New York on Thursday. So get ready for that. Game 4, pregame at 7. Now let's listen into Indiana coach Rick Carlisle.
Poor job of closing the third quarter. and not a good enough start to the fourth quarter turned it into, a real back and forth game, and they executed down the stretch, and we did not execute well enough. So credit them for fighting hard, hanging in. We got a pretty good lead in the third quarter, but didn't do a good enough job of attacking, but also avoiding miscues. So difficult loss. So we'll watch it tomorrow, and there are a lot of things we can do better.
Rick, just 42 points for you guys in the second half. Why do you think your offense stalled to the extent that it did?
Well, they had a lot of their better defenders in the game in the second half, and that makes it harder. And so, you've got to grind defensively to get rebounds, and there's a different element of grinding when you're going against their better guys. And so we're going to have to do better in a lot of those situations. And there were times we got good shots and just simply didn't hit them, and that's all part of this.
Towns had 20 in just that fourth quarter. What went wrong defending him in that frame?
Didn't do a good enough job. He's got a hair trigger, and you think you're close enough to him, and he just flicks the wrist. So he hit some threes. He got to the rim. He played great down the stretch.
Much more post-game reaction coming up, but up next, Karl Anthony Towns doing his thing. The guy's breaking down his remarkable fourth quarter from the Wally Wall. Coming up. All of a sudden, we have ourselves a series. Knicks beat the Pacers 106-100. Karl Anthony Towns, 20 of his 24 in the fourth quarter. None better than this sequence. Viewing party, watching from MSG, loving that. And the guys at the Wally Wall breaking down that play and another one. Alan Wally, take it away.
Oh, the arena was packed, and it was rocking in that second half.
So awesome.
It was all of what Karl Anthony Towns was getting done. That dunk we're going to get to in a moment, but the anatomy of a comeback, it starts with defense, it turns to offense, and it also starts with being smart and finding the hot hand, which we do here.
Yeah, and Rick Carlisle just mentioned the defensive lineup. Well, this is it. Freeze it there. Josh Hart gets his hand on that loose ball, bounces right to Deuce McBride, off to the races. Here go the Knicks, forcing turnovers, getting stops, no easy buckets, no easy layups. Push the ball right up the floor. You have numbers. Put the Pacers on their heels. Josh Hart, point forward. Where am I going to go? Get it to Karl Anthony Towns. Look at Karl Anthony Towns. You got DeLon Wright does a good job spacing. Siakam comes out here to stay. You got a shooter in the corner in Shamet. And Towns, he doesn't even hesitate. Right. Puts it down right through the paint, right by Siakam. Once Towns gets his shoulders square or ahead of you, you have no chance because he's so wide. He shoots it with extension, and he can get that ball up on the glass, and that's why he has such a good first step, because when he gets right next to you, he seals you with his shoulders, and then he can finish high and far away with his long arms. He is a very skilled big man, and boy, did he put it on display in that fourth quarter. What a dominant performance. That was one of the big-time moves.
All right, we have another Karl Anthony Towns play for you. This is the one we just showed you a moment ago. Let's take a look at him just taking it strong to the basket. This is the player that when he is playing like this, everyone stops and says, this guy's one of the best players in the league. He's unstoppable.
Well, Tom Thibodeau trusted him to be the guy with this five-man unit out there. And he was the man that everyone knew was going to be getting the ball. Good job getting the ball here to Mikal Bridges. He's got Halliburton on him, so you know they're going to bring a double team. They do. 2-3 dribbles. Bridges is baiting the defense. Double team's going to come. Keep an eye on Karl Anthony Towns, though. He sees the eyes of Miles Turner looking this way, and then all of a sudden, he cuts straight to the basket. And look at how quickly he cuts to the basket, too. There's the double. He loses him. Boom. Towns beat him. Great pass. Bridges unselfish. And here he comes. Can't get out there quick enough, Nemhard. Posterization time.
Freight train.
Feet were on the line in the restricted area. Karl Anthony Towns just absolutely turned into Superman in that fourth quarter. I mean, what a performance when the Knicks were almost done. He was in foul trouble in the first half. I think he only had 4 points in the first half, but completely turned around the game in the second half with maybe absolutely his most important minutes and most dominating performance in a Knick uniform.
Yeah, 20 points in the fourth quarter, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from downtown. We didn't even show you the three-point shots because it's just a lot of fun watching him go strong to the basket, Bill.
All right, guys. Josh Hart did not start tonight. It didn't impact his play, his reaction to his new role, and how the Knicks were able to prevail. Stay with us, everybody. Knicks beat the Pacers tonight 106-100. They are now down 2-1, setting up a pivotal game number 4, and it's Tuesday night. Hour-long pregame show is always here, Tuesday night at 7. Hour-long postgame show is always after game number 4. Josh Hart came off the bench tonight and was huge regardless, especially down the stretch. Here he is now in the postgame locker room.
I think we played well defensively. We started, getting stops and then getting out, getting easy buckets. Obviously, Cat had it going. So it was just a fight. I think that was the biggest thing. We let it slip in the first half. We got down 20, but we continued to fight. We continued to trust in each other, continued to communicate at a high level, and it benefited us.
9 was enough tonight. The bench being involved.
Oh, he had 9 points, or what?
9 players.
Oh, 9 players? Oh, yeah. Sham played great. Lon played great. Deuce. You got to give credit to those guys, man. They injected energy into the game, and they're huge. And we're gonna continue to rely on guys like that. We got to stop fouling so much. That's one thing that we really kept them in the game. But happy with how those guys played.
What does a win like this do to just get that crunch time win against them on there?
Yeah, it's our goal is always to win the next game, win the next quarter, and that was just a step in the right situation, step in the right path. So now we just got to focus on, having to lead after the first quarter of the next game, and continuing to build off that. We got to keep fighting.
Josh, what changed in that fourth quarter from what you could see for Carl that really got him going?
I think he made a couple tough shots. He showed his ability to get to the rim, his ability to post up, his ability to space the floor. He's a tough matchup. I feel like for anybody in the league, and when he has it going like that, it's great for us because it opens up so many things. I think we even had some back cuts that we probably didn't connect on, but they were open. We need that aggression from him all the time, offensively, and when he does that, it also bleeds into the defense.
All right, guys, one of the key 5-man units for the Knicks in their comeback. You ready? DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, Cat, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride. Have those 5 ever played together this year? I don't know.
Not even in practice.
With the season on the line, that 5 was key, Alan. Take a look at some of the bench guys.
It's really all that matters is that players were ready and they figured it out. It all started with defense. I love that Landry Shamet got an opportunity, and you could tell he wanted it bad. Knocks down that 3. I thought his defense was really good. He got into it, Obi Toppin. Josh Hart just playing hard, and that's important. And we showed a lot of what Towns has done offensively, but that pass to a back cut from Wright was a great play. And there's a jump ball, Deuce coming in off the rebound, stealing a page from what the Pacers like to do. But Wally, it's always what it's about. Your vets being ready when they're called upon and performing.
Yeah, and with that lineup, Cat looks around and he goes, I better shoot the ball every time I get it. So Tom Thibodeau made it very evident that it was his time to be the man and be aggressive. 20 points in that fourth quarter, surrounded him with great defenders because all those guys, like Rick Carlisle alluded to, that is a defensive lineup. And then Karl Anthony Towns in the middle doing all the scoring. That was a masterful idea for Tom Thibodeau to come up with, and it worked perfectly.
Towns had 4 points going into the fourth quarter, finished the game with 24. Yeah. And the Knicks again come back from 20 points down. They're the first NBA team in the play-by-play era to overcome 3 20-point deficits in the same playoff year. Of course, Game 1 and Game 2 against the Celtics.
The same month.
And did I say month?
No, I'm saying it was also the same month.
And tonight, and Landry Shamet, as we mentioned, led the Knicks with a plus 12. Here he is after the game.
Rotation shortened in the playoffs. We all know that.
you need everybody. So, it's been my intention. It's been our intention from the get. We talked about it, all of us, and we need everybody.
What did it say about you guys to be ready to go when the coach called?
We're pros. It's our job. Everybody in the NBA is a good player. And come playoff time, it's a matter of possessions, and it's just our job. That's the simple answer. It's your job to be ready. No way around that. Big minutes, no minutes for a long stretch. It's just your job.
Second half defense, what was the key?
Our energy. I think we picked things up. Our talk and communication, which we've been harping on. Communication was loud and early, and that helps us.
You were on the court for the end of the third quarter, the start of the fourth quarter, when a lot of that the game turned. What did you see that helped turn the game during that stretch?
Like I just said, communication, early, loud, continuous talk, and just our energy. There were a lot of opportunities and moments tonight where we could have laid down, given up, but we didn't. And picking up our energy when we needed to, it's important, and we did that.
How key was it that the Cat got going and got aggressive?
Of course. He carried us home there at the end. We put ourselves in a position to be close, and he, did his thing on the way to the stretch.
The night began with Mitchell Robinson as his starter. He finished the night with 6 points and 6 rebounds. His post-game reaction is coming up. The Knicks hold the Pacers to 42 points in the second half and win Game 3 106-100. Here's what's ahead. We know now there's going to be a Game 5. Game 4 Tuesday, 7 o'clock pregame, hour-long postgame. That's the case on Thursday. We know there will be a Game 5 Thursday night back here at MSG. Mitchell Robinson tonight, 28 minutes in a start, 6 points and 6 rebounds. Here he is now after the game.
What about starting tonight? What did you think of the lineup and how it went down?
It worked out pretty good. Got out as soon as the game started. We had a nice little lead. Stuff like that. We just gotta, since I'm in that group right now, we gotta figure each other out.
Mitch, what was it like to see the second half defense and the way you guys turned it around?
We started talking more. Beating the guys to their spots and stuff like that. We just got after it.
What do you think has been the key to your success on the road this postseason?
Our communication. Sometimes we feel like it's just us out there, just everybody against us. So we just out there. This is all we got.
What can you say about the bench? Contributing. Two guys come into the.
Oh, they did amazing. That spark that we needed, they brought it, and we was good to go.
How do you build on this for game 4?
Watch film, learn from our mistakes, and keep going.
Foul trouble slowed Jalen Brunson tonight, but he had a key 2 down the stretch. His post-game reaction, the captain, what he has to say about a remarkable Knicks win. Coming up.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
All right, Knicks have made a series of it. Back from the brink, beating the Pacers 106-100, now down 2-1. Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. All right, guys, question now going ahead to Tuesday's Game 4, Wally. Does Mitchell Robinson start again? Does Josh Hart again come off the bench? Do we see DeLon Wright? Do we see Landry Shamet? How do you think it's going to play out?
I would imagine that Mitchell Robinson will start, but also Tom Thibodeau learned a little bit about his pieces that he has to work with. So I think the run in the first half happened because there was a few lineups that were a little uncertain.
The Pacers run, you mean?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. The Pacers run in the first half, exactly. There was a few uncertainties with those lineups, but the second half, they found some stuff that worked. Tom Thibodeau knows that. He's going to get back in the lab, and I caution you this. They are not back in the series yet, okay? They have to get the next game. Then they are back in the series. They cannot relax. They cannot be happy with a split. They have to get this next game. It is almost a must-win.
Yeah, everyone now, right? At this point, everyone's going to feel the same way. Every game feels that way because you are chasing it from that very first game that you're continuing to chase. But the answer, I think, for Bill's questions are all yes. I think you just stick with what you have and what you went with, what worked. And also understand that you found 2 guys off the bench that can contribute. You continue to go with that as well. A 9-man rotation might be what it takes because the Pacers, are playing 9, 10, 11 guys as well.
Standing by for post-game reaction from Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Deuce McBride, guys, the first half plays 122, picks up 3 fouls.
Yeah.
That led to the playing time for guys like Wright and Shamet. And McBride, as he got back into the game in the second half, finished the game with 9 points.
Yeah, that was it's funny because we were looking at the box score before and we were talking about it, saying he only played 15 minutes. It felt like he played a lot, but you realize he only played 122 in the first half because of the foul trouble. And so really the bulk of his play came in the second half. And defensively, point of attack, the way he was fighting over screens, another big part of why they turned this game around.
And I think another lineup that could be effective at times, and I don't know if we might have seen it once in a while, is pretty much the starting lineup without Josh Hart in the starting lineup, with Deuce McBride in the starting lineup, with those 5 guys, with the 4 like Mikal Bridges, Anunoby. That could be 5 shooters on the floor, which could be a good thing also.
All right, guys, we have Towns and Brunson now at the podium. Let us listen in.
Kat, Knicks Pacers has one of the most emotional rivalry histories in the league, and now you're a part of it. In a series like this, after a performance like tonight, Dominican Mother's Day, what part of your game or your mindset do you think just adds your name to it?
I'm just happy our team was able to get one in the left column to get a win tonight. Is big for our team and in the series as well. Looking at a 2-0 deficit, possibly a 3-0 deficit, it was just important for us to find a way to win, and as a team, we found a way to do that tonight.
Kat, that 8-minute stretch to start the fourth quarter, what did you have going there, and what did you see there that made you so successful?
Teammates put me in great spots to succeed, and I just wanted to capitalize on the opportunity. And just all of us were just doing whatever it takes to win and put ourselves in a position to get back in the game, 1, and 2, put ourselves in a position where, at the end of the game we could find ourselves with a chance to win. So it's a shout out to the locker room, all of us finding a way.
This one's for either one of you. Obviously, Landry and DeLon both came in and gave you guys big minutes that helped you guys propel the lead. Josh had a role change and still played strong down the stretch. I guess, what does it say about some of the veterans on this team and the importance of having vets like that and guys who can be ready when their number is called?
Yeah, it says a lot. The professionalism they have and do whatever it takes to win. And we have a close-knit locker room, and just the way that the guys prepared and were ready to go tonight, and not being discouraged with our deficit and continuing to fight back speaks volumes for what those guys did tonight.
Jalen, you got in foul trouble again. You struggled with your shot a little bit early. What does it say about your mentality that you come back in the game late in the fourth quarter and you hit one of the biggest shots of the game?
Honestly, just focusing on the moment and clearing my mind and not really worrying about what's happened previously. And yeah.
For either of you guys, obviously big win tonight. Could have had game 1 or game 2. So you're down 2-1 in this series. I'd love to know what you make of this series so far.
It's a series.
It's unpredictable. I mean, obviously no lead's safe, and both teams are going to continue to fight to the buzzer. And got a lot of respect for them over there, and we just got to continue to keep playing our style of basketball, keep grinding it out.
I guess for either one of you, you guys have done this before, down 20, but down 20, a lot of things, foul trouble, things aren't going right. Just kind of, what does it say about the mental toughness of this team?
It says a lot. In the locker room, we talked about the biggest part of our comeback and everything was, we could quickly start to point fingers, or we can quickly start to just turn on each other. But we got together as a team, and we made sure that everyone was encouraging each other and making sure that it's not over. We got to keep fighting, keep chipping away, and we did that. And I'm just proud from the way we responded And, yeah, we needed it.
Well, again, worth repeating. Brunson, 7:03 to go, comes out with 5 fouls. The Knicks are up 1. Comes back with about 1:40 to go, and then hits a key drive with the game tied at 98. Puts the Knicks up by 2.
Yeah.
How hard is that to do when you've been sitting on the side with one of the biggest shots?
It's really hard. You got to clear your mind. That's a great line. As an athlete, you have to have a short memory. You just got to see what's in front of you. And I love what he said about the locker room. It's a close-knit locker room. Would have been easy to point fingers and fracture, but that team stuck together. That is as gutsy as a win as I have ever seen in the biggest moment of these guys' careers.
How insane is this series already so
Insane.
far, right? Yeah, overtime game. What you've had, 5-point game, now a 6-point game. Knicks Pacers.
Yep.
Chapter 4, everybody.
Let's go.
Tuesday night. We'll see you at 7 o'clock, hour-long pregame. And as always, an hour-long postgame after Game 4. And we know there's going to be a Game 5 Thursday night back here in New York at MSG. Mitchell Robinson got the start. Tyrese Halliburton, the Pacers went up by 20 in the second quarter. Knicks, though, fought back, got help from a lot of unlikely sources. And despite the Pacers and their athleticism, Karl Anthony Towns had 20 of his 24 in the fourth quarter. And the Knicks are now down 2-1. Have a great Memorial Day. We'll talk to you Tuesday night. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.